All right. I think we are live and I'm excited because we are back. It seems like it has been a long time. And so, man, it is good to see you guys. I am just going to briefly make sure that we are rolling on Rumble just because it's been a hot minute. Since we've been on, but if you guys can hear me, you can see me, all that good stuff, be sure to let me know. Um, and we should be live on everything as far as I know. So before I get too deep into this, I want to make sure we are rolling because it's been a while. It has been a hot minute since we had the Freedom Bros rolling. And so I'm trying to, yep, looks like we are rolling. Okay. Welcome everybody to the Freedom Bros podcast. My co-host Dustin will be here shortly. It is October 29th, 2024. We are 1 week away from Election Day, and I think it's safe to say this is the most important election of our lifetime. It seems like it's pretty much true every time. This time definitely feels different. This time feels like I if Trump wins, all hell may straight up break loose. If he loses, all hell may straight up break loose. I mean, this is an election to rule them all, so to speak. So, before I get too deep into tonight's topic, which is Prop 1, we're talking Prop 1. We've got a big announcement from Dustin and I. We have people watching all over the place. We're going to be talking about YouTube censorship and all sorts of fun stuff. And we're going to be talking about the election night broadcast, which will be coming up on November 5th, because we have to talk Prop 1 and the results of Prop 1, which should terrify everyone who cares about protecting Idaho. So, with that, we are going to roll our ever loving, my favorite intro video of all time, and we'll see you on the other side. All right, before I get going too deep into tonight's podcast, I want to talk just for a second about censorship. I don't know if you guys saw the news. The New York Times is trying to do their big October surprise, and what they're doing is it's like you cannot hate you can't call it the mainstream media. It is an arm of the Democrat Party. That is it. That's all that it is now. But the New York Times basically contacted Ben Shapiro and Tucker Carlson and a whole bunch of conservative podcasters and said, you have a bunch of misinformation on all these YouTube videos. And we used Media Matters, of all people, to determine that you are putting out misinformation about elections. And I believe there's 247 videos that they flagged across all of these various conservative podcasters. And here, you might help a little bit. Maybe you can hear me a little bit better here if I move my mic a little closer. And so it appears as though the New York Times is trying to put out some article so that YouTube will flag all of these podcasters and threaten to shut them down and ban them and all sorts of other stuff. I mean, it is election interference. Anyone? I'm just saying that's you can't tell me that they just magically decide to do this 1 week before Election Day. And so I keep telling people this is why we have tried with Idaho Second Amendment Alliance and with our podcast here to get on Rumble, to get on X, to get on platforms where you have a little bit more of a voice. Yes, there are like 8 million alternatives. I get it, and it's super frustrating. But as far as a video platform goes, we have banked everything on Rumble right now in terms of not relying on YouTube. I think this one tonight is, but please, 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 if you're on Rumble, go sign up if you're not and follow this channel. You can follow the Idaho Second Amendment Alliance. There's lots of other good channels on Rumble. But at the end of the day, YouTube and all this bullcrap, if you don't want to keep dealing with these threats to important information getting out, You've got to do something. At the very least, right? People always ask me, what can I do? What can I do? I'll go give a speech to like 30, 40, 50 people. And I'll say, hey, how many of you guys are on Rumble? And like 3 hands go up, right? Because not a lot of people are on it right now. It's growing rapidly. You got Steven Crowder and Dan Bongino and all, I mean, tons of guys over on Rumble. And I'll say, okay, go home tonight, subscribe to Rumble, and be sure to follow the channel. And I'll go, and after like 3 or 4 days, I'll go look, and like 2 people sign up. And so I think that's what's frustrating sometimes with the conservative movement is we're like, hey, here's some really easy things you can do. If I can't get you to do that, what hope do I have to get you out knocking on doors and going out and burning up the pavement, dropping literature and doing that kind of stuff, right? So we've got to do a better job, I think, of going out and fighting. So all right, so awesome. We got some people in the chats. No on Prop 1, definitely a big fat no on Prop 1. So that is kind of scary. And in fact, if you want to talk about the YouTube thing for a second, did any of you guys watch the Joe Rogan Donald Trump podcast? Okay, I did. It's 3 hours long. It's long, right? If you don't know Joe Rogan, it's like all long form interviews, pretty much. And I watched it all. It was really, really good. And I'll tell you what, like I have my disagreements with Trump. There's, he's not strong on the 2A. Like I would like him to be strong. Yes, Kamala Harris is like 10 times worse. I'm just saying, I wish he was a lot stronger on the 2A. Okay. And the whole, the COVID vaccine crap. Okay. See, we're on YouTube right now. We might be banned already. Who knows? But I know I won't be banned on Rumble or on X. And so, there's things I wish Trump was better at. But what I came away impressed by is the dude is 78, 79. Like he's freaking old. And 3-hour podcast, do you know how long that is? It is so long. I've done the election night podcast. And after 2 hours, you're just sitting there going, holy crap, man, I'm tired. This is exhausting. And the dude did the 3-hour podcast and then went to a rally somewhere. I don't remember where it was. He went and did a rally after and talked for like another hour. I'm just like, holy crap, dude. The guy is a machine. On the podcast, he said he hadn't taken a day off in like 54 days. And he's been shot, and then in 2 attempted assassinations, and the dude just keeps going. And Kamala Harris is already, she's in her basement. She has 2 days to plan for CNN interviews and all that crap. And so this podcast comes out, and I don't even know what it has. I'll look it up while we're talking. It has a crap ton, and I mean a crap ton of views, like an insane amount of views for a podcast that has only been up for, I think, 4 days. It's already Joe Rogan's second most watched podcast ever. Let's see what it's at right now. Let's see, 39 million views, 39.5 million views. And Joe Rogan's most popular podcast was 5 years ago. It has 61 million. So Trump's going to pass that, obviously. He's going to surpass that. And Joe Rogan's most popular one was with Bob Lazar and Jeremy Corbell, which is kind of a surprise that that's his most. And then Trump just passed Elon Musk's interview on Joe Rogan, which was 4 years ago. But dude, I got to give the guy props, man. The dude is a freaking machine. And it's actually kind of inspiring to just see someone his age, he looks healthy. I mean, look, I'm not going to say he's the spry 30-year-old guy was a long time ago, but the amount that it takes to do all that crap is just, so impressive. And for a guy who they're trying to kill him, and they're probably going to try again. If they don't try again before November 5th, they're certainly going to try once he's president, which is really interesting because if they take Trump out, I don't think they realize J.D. Vance is probably more conservative, probably far more conservative than Trump is on policy issues. But really fascinating podcast, and he just wings it the whole freaking time. Like it's impressive. Can you imagine Kamala Harris doing a 3-hour interview with Joe Rogan? Now, Joe Rogan's not going to be like a gotcha guy or anything like that, but she has talking points, and that's it. She has no depth at all. Like, the woman is pathetic. Like, we are totally effed. Sorry, we are screwed if that woman becomes president. Like, I'd almost rather have Joe Biden than Kamala Harris. I mean, Joe Biden's a mumbling, bumbling idiot, but he's freaking old too. So he's got somewhat of an excuse because he's just deteriorating. There's no excuse for her. She's been dumb her entire life. And that woman cannot be president. And I don't see any way that it happens. And we'll get into the Prop 1 stuff here in a minute. I wanted to touch just briefly. We're going to be doing an election night show at 9 o'clock on election night on November 5th. We'll start at 9 o'clock Mountain Time. For those of you up north, that's obviously 8 o'clock. And that's when results will start coming in. There's been a crap ton of early voting in Idaho, by the way, a crap ton of early voting. And it's going to be, I mean, we're mainly doing the election show. We'll talk a little bit about the election. God willing, they'll announce that Trump has won by then. That's the hope and the prayer, right? That Trump wins by that time. But we want to talk Prop 1 results, right? This is huge. This whole thing is monumental. And so that will be on election night. But I did want to just briefly talk about what is coming up, because here's the thing. I feel somewhat the same way I did in 2020. It doesn't seem like there is any way. For we got my co-host chiming in. He's doing some good family time. He's rocking it and getting kids to bed and all that good stuff, and then he'll jump in here. I can't see how Trump loses. I can't. It doesn't make any sense. Okay. I just, from the economy has been garbage for the last 4 years. Kamala Harris has to own all of that because she was part of it. The immigration thing has destroyed our country. They did that on purpose. Even the left-wing media is calling out Kamala Harris for what happened. The whole thing, there's nothing that makes sense. Republicans are killing it in early voting. It's hard to determine if normal election day voters are just all going out and voting early. And by the way, if you live in a swing state, you can vote early. You absolutely should. Go bank your vote. Make sure there's no, the water pipe burst in the election room. We're so sorry. You can't vote anymore. If you look on X, if you're not on Twitter, I highly recommend it. Lots of good information there. But there's some scary stuff already happening. Right, we got ballot boxes being burned in Oregon and Washington. We have. So I was watching a video right as I was driving here. I had YouTube on, and it was, X, and it was some interview about somebody in Pennsylvania, and the polls were supposed to be open for early voting until 5 o'clock. Well, they were like, well, we have to cut the line off at 1:30, and so you've got people, I think, that have been busted. Somebody was busted, I think, in Pennsylvania. Doing ballots, and they were all in the same handwriting. Look, I am very much if we can go change the laws to election day only, paper ballots, no mail-in ballots, none of that crap, I'd do it. I don't even like the early voting thing. But if we're going to have early voting, it should be in person and paper ballots only. There's so many countries that only do paper now because of how easy it is to corrupt electronic stuff or to do mail-in ballots. The state of Washington, guess what? Everything is mail-in. Every single ballot is mailed out to the voters. Gee, that's not a recipe for disaster when you have access to the voter rolls. I mean, the whole thing is just absolutely terrifying. And we're supposed to be the leading country in the world, and yet we're doing crap like that. So that it's bad. Like, it's really, really bad. So I don't know. You guys let me know in the chat. I can only monitor my chat on here, and there's not a whole lot right now. Holly Reynolds says no on Prop 1 and yes on HJR 5. So if you guys don't know about HJR 5, that is a constitutional amendment that you definitely want to vote yes on, but it will make it so that there is no illegals voting at all. Okay, no illegals voting at all. Now the Democrats are like, well, it's already illegal to vote. And yet the Democrats in Where was that? It's over on the East Coast somewhere. They're trying to stop the voter rolls from cleaning off illegal immigrants who are on the voter rolls. There's a reason they don't want to have ID to vote, right? There's a reason they don't want you to have to show your ID and show your address and prove who you are. There was another video, by the way, along those lines of a guy in New York and some precinct or some voting location in New York. They said, show us, or they wanted to show their ID to vote, and they don't even look. They don't care. They don't want to see it. I'm just like, what kind of third world country are we living in where showing your ID is somehow it's so frustrating. We know why. Why you guys all know why. You're not stupid. You understand exactly what is happening here. I'm going to open up the Rumble so I can see if there's anything on here. So somebody on Rumble said Kamala couldn't do a 3-hour podcast because the batteries for her teleprompter would die before the end. That's funny. I actually saw another joke about the Kamala going on Rogan. They're like, her earpiece battery won't last more than an hour. So, and by the way, Rogan actually posted today that the Kamala campaign was demanding that he go to her and that it only be an hour long. And he was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. He goes, are you freaking crazy? I'm not going to go out and I don't know why that went off there. 1 second. Why should he? She has time and she can go out on I don't know what the name of that stupid I don't know anything about the podcast. It's some sex podcast. What the heck was that called? Anyway, I don't know. She had time to go there. She just went to Shannon Sharp's, which, by the way, that guy, I'm a Denver Bronco fan. I loved Shannon Sharp as a football player, but that guy can go pound sand. Anyway, he's trying to be the Joe Rogan of the left, by the way, in case you didn't know. Anyway, so she goes to everybody else's studios, but Rogan has to go to her. Screw that. And by the way, JD Vance is also going on Rogan. So, the guy in New York, he was just like, no ID to vote. They don't want to see your ID. So all that to be said, I can't see how Trump loses. It doesn't make sense. His minority votes are increasing like crazy. His young male voters are turning out for Trump. Everybody's turning out for Trump except for these suburban moms who want the right to kill their babies. That's it. Like, that's the demographic that he is losing right now. It's freaking crazy. So Nicholas, dude, I cannot ever remember how to do your last name. Gaijin. Anyway, Prop 1 is the only thing that matters. So I actually did a post on the Freedom Bros Twitter handle, and I said basically that. I said, look, if you're at home and you're like, I don't really care to go vote because Trump's going to win. Why does it matter? I don't care about my state lawmakers because most of them are going to win unless you happen to be in Pocatello, Blaine County, or up in the Moscow area in District 6. Unless you're in one of those 3 like battleground districts in Idaho, nothing else matters pretty much on the ballot. Okay, there's not. There is some. Okay, I'm being somewhat facetious here, but there's sheriff's races and all that kind of stuff. But as a general rule, most people, they're like the president, and then it just kind of trickles down from there, and it trickles pretty fast on how much they care. Prop 1 changes everything. It changes everything. And so hopefully my Prop 1 prediction, David Watson, we will get to that here shortly. So my co-host will hopefully be joining me here pretty soon. But for now, let's get into Prop 1. Okay. I know that's why you guys are here. That's what we're going to talk about. That's what most of the show is going to be about tonight. And I apologize. I don't know if you guys were paying attention to my personal stuff, but Twitter and Twitter and Facebook, but my back's all jacked up from Iraq, and it went out really bad today, as in I could not get up, and they gave me medication that didn't work. It hasn't worked, but it doesn't mean I'm not feeling a little a little loopy and a little sleepy. So I apologize. In fact, you can kind of that side. You can see my cane back there. That's my cane I was walking around with today. So, okay, this is what I want to do first, and I'm going to put these up on your screen. I don't know how well you'll be able to see them, but I've got 3 pieces of Prop 1 propaganda that I know most of you have probably gotten. They actually weren't addressed to me. They were addressed to the guy that lived in the house prior to me coming and moving into this house. So the first one that came out, and I think most of you guys got this, was this one here. And I'll put this up on the screen in a sec because I don't want to hold it the entire time I'm talking. This was the first one that came up, right? And what you'll notice is something very interesting. Okay. So if you can't read it because you're looking on your phone or something, I'll just read it real quick. It's simple. Voting yes on Proposition 1 restores open primaries and allows all Idahoans, including 275,000 independents, to vote in taxpayer-funded elections. Vote yes on Prop 1. No, don't do that. Learn more at Yes for Idahoans for Open Primaries. Okay, that's the front. And the back, or maybe this is the front, who knows, is going to be a little bit harder for you guys to read, maybe. And maybe I won't. Yeah, here, I'll just. Voters can restore Idaho's voting traditions with Proposition 1 open primaries. Idahoans voted in open primaries for 40 years until party insiders established closed primaries in 2011 to solidify their power. Today, over 275,000 taxpaying Idahoans are blocked from voting in publicly funded primary elections because they don't belong to a political party. Open primaries gets Idaho back to how politics used to work here, electing leaders who reflect our values and are accountable to everyday voters, not special interests and party elites. Vote yes, blah, blah, blah. Okay. What is the word for this? Bullshit. Okay. That's what this entire flyer was. Pardon my French. I'm fired up. But absolute. Somebody said, get me an inversion table. Yeah, I have tried that before. I won't get into it. Anyway, okay, so let's break this down, starting with the front part here. You notice, by the way, there's 2 major portions to the Prop 1 initiative. The top 4 primary and rigged choice voting. Okay, rigged choice voting. Did you guys hear the second part on there? No, of course not. You didn't hear anything about upending, completely changing the general election. Not a single word about ranked choice voting. But I'm not saying you have to be able to cram everything into a political flyer. I understand that can be difficult. When you're running an initiative to change our election system in a massive, massive way, I do not understand how in the world you can get away with not mentioning the ranked choice voting portion at all. Oh, hey, wait a minute here. Uh-oh. Trouble is in the house, people. Trouble is in the house.
What's up?
Nurse, bro.
What is up? So, first of all, the new Transformers movie is not great. Do not take your kids to it. It's not bad, but like it says the A word like 12 times in a PG movie, and I'm like,
really?
Excuse me? Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. I was like, my kids were thrilled because they got to listen to no words. But if you have better standards than I do not take your kids to the new Transformers movie.
Wow.
Welcome. Thank you for having me on the show, Greg.
Oh, well, yeah, no problem at all. Is it woke?
No, not at all. No. It's just it's your typical action movie, lots of explosions, lots of action and stuff like that. But like I said, there's a it's actually Bumblebee who gives himself a nickname, Badassatron, and you hear that he just keeps saying badassatron throughout the entire show, and I'm like, I've got a 5-year-old right here. Like,
Oh
okay.
boy.
The
Yeah, you're gonna
funniest
be
thing,
walking at Walmart and be like, Dad, where's my badassatron toy?
well, and it's funny. Yeah, no kidding. It's funny because he walked out of the theater and he's like, Dad, you know what I didn't like in that? And I'm like, oh boy, here we go. I was like, what, Ben? What did you not like? He's like, when they said shut up. I'm like, thank you. Thank you. Your mother is not going to hear about badassatron.
Oh my gosh. Dude, that's wild, man. That's weird that
Yeah.
they could get away with PG, I guess. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
That was usually I screen these things a little bit better, but I thought, oh, PG, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. But
Yeah.
other than that, I mean, other than that, it's like it's totally fine. But again, now my 12-year-old is he's thrilled. He's thrilled. He
Yeah.
gets to hear naughty words or whatever. So
That's
anyway,
good.
I'm sorry to interrupt the flow of the podcast. Welcome everybody.
No, no, it was good timing because we just got into the prop one, and we've got in the images you'll see down there all three of the propaganda pieces from the prop one people, and so I just started talking about the lie on this first one of, first of all, it says restore open primaries. We're not restoring an open primary. This is not an
Correct.
open primary, people. The Supreme Court, the Idaho Supreme Court made it very clear this term actually means something to Idahoans because an open primary indicates that anybody from any political party or somebody that's unaffiliated can go into the Democrat primary, for instance, because they have an open primary. And as a Republican, I can go into their primary and get a ballot, and I can vote
Right.
in their primary. That's what an open. So when you use the word restore, okay, I don't take my piece of junk car to a restorer and he comes out with a different car. He's like, "Hey, I restored your car for you," and I'm like, "Well, no, that's not even the same car. What are you talking about?" Okay, we're not restoring anything. It's just blood. I don't understand almost how this is not illegal to lie like this. I mean, I get political mailers always kind of play loose maybe with the truth. This is
Yeah.
just straight up lies, man. And
Straight
then
up.
you don't mention ranked choice voting at all. You don't mention the whole second half of it, which will completely change our election system. And that's on all
Yeah.
of them. Yeah,
I think, I mean, we all know why they did that, right? Ranked choice
Yeah,
voting
yeah,
is
yeah.
incredibly unpopular, is incredibly confusing, especially for older voters who vote, right? People who vote are being lied to because they would vote against something that would confuse the hell out of them. Like, that's why they did this, Luke Mayville. Now, it's interesting to me because where was I going with that besides making fun of Luke Mayville? Dude, I'm off my game tonight. I just want to make fun of Luke.
It's been a while. Yeah.
It really has been. But I think the dishonesty about this whole thing is appalling. And I think, here's what I went. I think the fact that they aren't being honest is actually turning off some people who would otherwise hear their message, right?
Yeah.
Like if they did a mailer that's like half is open primaries are great and ranked choice voting is great, then I think that would even be a little bit more palatable for some people who would be inclined to follow them. But I've read, and we were discussing this earlier today, there's no scientific way other than polling to really get the feel of the people, right? But
Yeah.
just as part of my job, like I look through comments sections are not part of my job, but like my hobby, because I want to save the state. I read comment sections of stuff that isn't posted by partisans. It's just like Magic Valley Rants and Raves or your group in Rigby. Like I read comment after comment after comment about them saying, yeah, they lied to us. They lied to us. And it's a really big turnoff.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but it's funny that the very few people that you can find that are like, "Oh, vote yes, this is blah blah," they're flaming liberals.
Every single
Like
time.
Trump hating, we're all garbage. If you didn't hear that whole thing from Biden tonight,
Oh
yeah,
man,
that's bad, dude. This is
by the
going
way,
all over again.
I gotta show you this. Hang on one second. So I was in Seattle a couple years ago for the Oregon Washington game. Yeah, it had to be. Yeah, that's what it was. And we went to the Seattle market, and there was this bag there for garbage, ostensibly, and I just thought it was really funny, so I took this picture, and that says "I'm trash," right? And I'm like, I have I've never been more prepared for a meme in my entire life. This is
Nice.
amazing. So anyway,
Yes.
oh,
Yeah.
the funniest thing, and we were going to digress for a second. I love that everything, like Biden is completely demolishing Harris at every single turn. It's the
I
best. Like
dude,
dur-
I wondered if
during
that garbage comment was not intentional to screw her over.
Well, and she gave her closing argument speech in front of the White House today. Like it was supposed to be like her moment where, and if you didn't see the interview before her speech, it's incredible. She's like, "I'm gonna let people envision it. The White House is gonna be behind me." Like that's what she said.
Yeah.
The reporter
Yeah.
was like, "Let me ask about this," and she's like, "The White House will be behind me." Like it was the most like teenage anyway, but like
Oh.
this and the hurricane relief and like a bunch of stuff, just time and time again Biden is just stepping all over her. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, good for him, dude. I would be too if be getting forced out like that. I'd be like, screw you. If I can't have it, you're not gonna have it either. Forget it. So yeah, dude, it's crazy. But okay. Well, let's get back. So the other big lie on this, and this is just an overall lie because they've been doing this for a long time, is 275,000 Idahoans or independent voters are blocked from the primary. It's a lie. Nobody is blocked from the primary. If you are a registered voter, a legally registered voter, you have the right to vote in the primary. But guess what? There are requirements. You can vote in the Democrat primary as an independent, or you can register as a Republican and vote in the Republican primary. You're not blocked. Nobody is blocked.
And if you don't believe us on this, you need to go study the race between Scott Herndon and Jim Woodward this year,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
That literally flies in the face of this case. So if you don't know, Scott Herndon, who is the extreme radical far right senator from North Idaho, who just wants education choice and stuff like that, he got the same amount of votes that he got last time in the Republican Party, give or take a few, right? Jim Woodward imported like 2,000 independent and Democrat voters to vote solely against Scott Herndon. Now, we know that it's solely because Cornell Razor, who is as much of an extremist as Scott Herndon, won his race. There was no down ballot effect. It was just vote Herndon out.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
That's people registering. You can register. You shouldn't, but you can.
Yeah. No, 100%. And that's why they want this. They want a much easier way to get rid of conservative Republicans. They want an easier way to either get Democrats or very, very liberal Republicans elected. But at the end of the day, you're right. That was their plan. That is their plan. And that's what they're going for. So nobody is blocked from voting in the primary at all.
Not a single human being.
Not a single human being.
One.
Better yet, guess what? The turnout in the Republican primary this year was 35% statewide. Now that varies by district, obviously, but that was the turnout overall was 35%. So if the moderate Republicans are really pissed off that the extremists have taken over the Republican Party, then maybe get off your asses and do something about it. But you're not. You're not. And so your plan is to help the Democrats and the liberal independents to take over the Republican Party?
So the truth here, I understand this from a slightly different perspective. This is a marketing thing, right? Politics always boils down to money, right? And what I realized, I was in the shower a couple of weeks ago thinking about why they were doing this. It's so they can save on marketing costs, right? I'm sure that somewhere somebody has done a study of what it takes to spend money to market to get people to change parties, because it's not like the easiest process in the world. You have to go down to your county office, you have to fill out a form, and then you leave. Like it's easy in theory, but like you have to make the trip, right? This is just an exercise in cutting down marketing costs for liberal candidates so they don't have to do that, right? There was like if it's $20 a voter or $100 a voter to get people to register in the Republican primary, if liberal candidates don't have to pay that cost, then candidates if they don't have to pay that cost, then they can spend their money marketing straight to voters and saying, hey, vote for me because this guy is an extremist, instead of saying, you need to go change your party registration and then you can vote for me. That's all this is saving on marketing costs for liberal candidates, right?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And hello, Christy Zitto, our favorite. We love her. She's going to destroy whatever lame Democrat she's going against. And then we're going to have a pro gun champion back in the Capitol. We're so excited.
She's the best.
Yeah. So, but here's the other thing that's interesting. So we talked to you guys the 35% turnout. Okay. Dustin and everybody knows that the most politically active people vote in the primary. That's the reality. So guess what? If this passes, those moderate Republicans aren't all of a sudden turning out to vote, or those, I should say, that other 65%, they're not magically turning out to vote. You know who's going to be voting in the primary? The same people that are voting now. The liberal independents, the Democrats that are active, and all the Republicans who are active. And so their ability to turn Idaho much more purple expounds greatly under this system, and that's why they did it. And by the way, they also did top 4. Okay, I wonder why the Democrats didn't want to do a top 2 like they have in Washington and California, because they would be wiped out. There would be no Democrats in pretty much 90% of the districts.
Yeah,
Except it would only be
except
two
for Boise, and the Sun Valley area,
maybe
and then
Pocatello.
Moscow. Pocatello.
Yeah.
Even Pocatello, I would wonder, because usually they don't have competitive primaries in the Democrats because they're very disciplined about this.
Correct.
Right? And so none of the Democrats show up, or they show up for the Republicans. So yeah, it's interesting to think about. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, no, that's the 100% why they didn't rather than do the top 4 and ranked choice voting, they went for this instead. So okay, well I'm going to throw up here on the second flyer. So first I'll show you guys this one. I mean, good clever marketing. They're going for that gun owners. This is targeted gun owners, if I had to guess. That's what this is really about. And then you got this one here with this tool bag right here. There he is, Marv Hagedorn. Okay, so let me put this up on the screen, and then I will briefly. There we go. Okay, so this is on one side. Wanted the freedom to vote, and I know you had something to say about this on the whole freedom thing. So I'll let you do that here in a sec.
Yeah.
The freedom to vote in every taxpayer-funded election in Idaho. Idaho had open primaries for 40 years until the party leads, yada, yada, blocked independence. We've already covered all that bull crap. And then on the other side is let's restore Idaho's tradition of open primaries. Again, a bold-faced lie.
You almost said a no word, as my kids call them.
Oh, sorry. Let's get Idaho back to how politics used to work here, electing leaders who reflect all this is fluff. It's all bullcrap. It's all a lie. And by the way, this is this guy right here in the
blue polo.
Yeah, the blue polo.
Can we talk about his facial expression? He looks
he
looks constipated.
Okay. Yeah. But I got it. I'm like, he's got to be so mad because you got, I mean, everybody is, I don't know. They all look kind of weird except for the one girl and maybe the guy in the green shirt.
Yeah, but all those guys are, you could probably find those on the stock Photoshop or photo site anywhere. But yeah, Marv, if you don't know, so Greg wrote an amazing article on Keep Idaho Free, and I might be jumping the gun here, but keepidahofree.com or org. I don't remember org. About how Marv Hagedorn voted to close the primary back in 2011 when this was originally started. And now, 13, 14 years later, he's saying, oh, we need to stop the party insiders who voted to close the primary. It's like, wait a second, Marv, you closed the primary. What the hell is wrong with you?
Well, and it's funny, Trent, my gosh, Clark. Anyway, he was like, well, it wasn't really Marv because it was the legislature just passed the law that allowed it to happen. And then the party people ended up closing it. And I was like, dude, you're talking about semantics. He didn't have to vote for the law that allowed it to be closed. Everybody knew what was coming. Everybody knew what was going to happen. And by the way, I don't know who the chairman was of the GOP. I can't remember off the top of my head back in 2011, 2012 timeframe, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't anybody like Dorothy Moon.
No,
So
it had to be. I think that was before Luna. It may
it
have
was
been one
before
of. I
Luna.
think it was Otter. One of Otter's cronies. I'll look it up.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it wasn't the far right extremists. I mean, it was his people. It was Marv Hagedorn's people, and he knew it was coming. He
Yeah.
knew it was coming. So it's just a bunch of bull crap. Um, so again, what did you want to say on the freedom issue? Because I know you talked about that on
Yeah.
Twitter.
So no, it's just funny. I say too many things anyway, but like the reason. Let's back up for just a second. Earlier this year, um, the governor's cronies, Brad Little's cronies, and some other establishment forces spent $750,000 to unseat Trakel, Lenny, and Nichols in their primary races. They only got
Yeah,
Trakel because Trakel is a dumbass who didn't lift a finger for his own reelection bid. I was looking at his finances. He raised $11,000. His opponent spent $22,000 on materials alone, right? So that Trakel's a
jeez.
dumbass, right? But they actually helped Tammy Nichols win by a wider margin, and Lenny won by essentially the same margin as last time. The
Yeah,
reason that these folks don't get it is they don't have the spirit of freedom in their DNA. They don't know why anybody would ever. They're very condescending. They don't know why anybody would ever vote for Brian Lenny because they think he's disgusting, and I mean that in every. They think Brian
yeah,
Lenny and Tammy Nichols are garbage, right? The same principle applies here, right? These folks do not understand us. They don't understand why people would uproot their lives from California and move to Idaho for a better quality of life and believe in freedom. So what they do is they slap the word freedom on something and they say, oh, the Idaho Freedom Foundation does it. It will work for us. No, dumbass, it won't, because you don't have the right message. And if you did, if you understood freedom, you wouldn't be doing what you're doing. It's the most disingenuous, dishonest BS. And it's not going to work. They are going to lose. And I think that, quite frankly, some of their marketing materials are a huge turnoff because they just the message. There's a book called Made to Stick, right? And it's about how messages stick or don't because of how they resonate with people's feelings, how they resonate with their understanding of the world. Their messages don't stick, just like with Trakel, Lenny, and Nichols. These people are so dumb, and no polling, nothing can fix this because it's not native to them at all. So
yeah.
they're going to lose. Sorry. I'm so tired of this fight.
I am too, but I just yeah. Here, well, look, we'll get to the last flyer here, and then we can get into this a little bit more. This one may have made me more mad than the rest. And by the way, let's see, ranked choice voting mentioned on. Nope, not on that one either. Shocker. All right. This is the third one. Now maybe there's a fourth one coming. I don't know. If you guys can't see, it's got George Washington on it.
Most of these people think the founding fathers are extremists. Let's be real about that.
yeah, yeah. They
You
want
you
the people
hypocrites.
erasing him from history, and now you're going to invoke him because again, they're like you said, they're trying to go. Well, let's see. They actually like George Washington, so maybe we
Yep.
can do this, and this will work. So it says in 1796, George Washington warned Americans that too much power in the hands of political parties would subvert the power of the people. His warning is becoming a reality in Idaho today, where politicians are less and less accountable to the people. Proposition 1 restores our state's tradition of open primaries and puts the power back in the hands of Idahoans, not party elites. Oh my good gosh, I can't. Okay, that's one side. Here's the other side again, using we the people, a phrase that they don't care about. Okay, their phrase should have been
100%.
comrade, we the comrades or something. And restore open primaries. It's the same crap. 270,000 blocked, 40 years of this, blah, 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 whatever. Again, a bunch of lies. And wait, let me make sure. Yeah, no ranked choice voting. 3 chances to mention ranked choice voting somewhere on here. One half of a very massive shift in our election, and not a single word On top of that, all three of them lying about this open primary thing. It is a lie. This whole thing is a lie, which is, by the way, Dustin, because you know this, I have been saying for a very, very long time, I think a decade now, ban the initiative process. Get rid of it. Stop trying to pass little laws that can ultimately be taken up to the Supreme Court and the liberal judges will throw it out. Just get rid of the entire process. We can't compete with this. How much money did they just get the other day? It was like
It's like
1.2 million.
Yeah, the total is over like five and a half million bucks now. So, and 80% of it is out of state, which again, I'm fine because everybody knows, my thoughts on free speech and money and stuff like that. I'm fine. But like Greg's right. Like, first of all, liberals have figured this game out. I was in Denver a couple weeks ago and they're like, yeah, we have 14 initiatives on the ballot.
Oh,
14.
geez.
Look, I'm going to say something that's not controversial, but you could make it controversial. Voters are dumb. Like, they're dumb as box of rocks, right? Like, they're dumb and they do not have time to look through 14 ballot initiatives. They don't know. And you know who made the case on this for us just last week? Kelly Packer. Kelly Packer was this is a special case. Kelly Packer was a state lawmaker from McCammon, which is I think at the time it was district 28 or 29. I can't remember, but redistricting scrambled it. She was basically from Power County area, American Falls area, right? She should know. She served like, I want to say 2 to 3 terms. She read through the initiative, glanced through it, and said, oh, this is good for Idaho, right? A former state lawmaker, I think she's now the ED for the Idaho Association of Cities or Counties, one or the other. I think it's cities. About an hour later, she posts to her Facebook again and says, thank you, so-and-so, for the briefing. I didn't realize that the proposition did this, which was ranked choice voting, right? And she said, after voting for it, I am now urging you to vote against Proposition 1 because it will be bad for Idaho. If a former state lawmaker who actively wrote the laws that govern your life cannot figure out how to properly read a proposition, which is like 18 pages, by the way, you are not equipped to do it, and neither is the average voter. You can hate me for saying that, but it's true.
And that's one. That's one initiative. Throw 13 more in there.
Yeah. Voters are not equipped for this in the same way that they are not equipped for ranked choice voting. I mean, look at Alaska. I was talking with Phil Eison when he was at the GOP convention this summer. Alaska had to spend millions and millions of dollars educating people on how to do ranked choice voting, right? Voters aren't, this is at a time when if Republicans like breathe on the ballots wrong, Democrats are saying, oh, that's voter suppression. I mean, even Georgia, they corrected their laws, cleaned them up, and voters are voting in higher numbers, and Democrats are still saying those laws were voter suppression. Like, this is actual voter suppression, like actual voter suppression, because people, when they're confused, they don't do what you want them to do. They don't vote.
Correct.
They don't participate. They will stop participating. Democrats are actively suppressing voters or trying to. I don't think it's going to work, but they are.
Yeah, and that's the thing is we can barely get people to do their homework on the one person they want to vote for. and as we've talked about before, people really care about the presidency, and then they care quite a bit about the governor and maybe their U.S. senator and congressman. After that, it just drops like a rock, like how much they really care. You can ask Christy Zitto, or you can ask any lawmaker how many times they've probably had somebody come up to them and say, hey, so when you get back to Washington, D.C., it's just like, oh my gosh. Like, no, I'm not. I go to the Idaho Capitol. Like, that's where I go. Yeah. I mean, it gets bad. And so, to your point, now we're expecting voters to start doing all their homework on 4 candidates and hoping that doesn't completely bite us in the ass. But that's the thing
hang on. Let's be clear. It's 4 candidates in the general. General. The primary, if you've seen what happened in Alaska and Portland, the Portland ballots are like this long for each race because they're like 40. I think there was a congressional race in Alaska, the first one. The first round of voting, like the primary, had like 44 candidates in it, right? You're not equipped to do that. Most voters are not. So it just becomes, it's a popularity contest like we had in high school, and not an actual election about issues and what people actually stand for. So it's for the general, but it could be 40 in the primary. It's terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Yeah. And again, Democrats will figure out a way to ensure that the most liberal Republicans get through and that their Democrat, whoever they're going to run, gets through. And then here's the problem. You're going to end up with, I think in a lot of districts, you're going to end up with 3 Republicans and 1 Democrat, right? And then the Democrats, they're like, oh, well, it's more accountability. Well, no, the special interests are actually going to probably increase at that point, because the Democrats know they can put a ton of money into their one candidate, where the Republicans are going to end up splitting. And then what do? You got 3 Republicans all going at each other. Well, I'd rather have the Democrat than that guy. There's a plan behind this, people. It has nothing to do with fairness. It has nothing to do with independent voters. It sure as hell doesn't have anything to do with veterans and all that bull crap. Okay, I'm a veteran, trust me, and that freaking ad pisses me off to know it. I made my own ad. I was so annoyed by that freaking thing. It has nothing to do with any ad. This is the Democrats and the far left trying to take over Idaho. We've been talking about this now for how long? A decade. This is the Gem State heist. They are coming, and this is their best chance to really start flipping the script.
And look, my guess is our audience is already either voting no or planning to vote no. We may be just preaching to the choir. But like my other evidence of this, of the evil that this is look who's supporting it, right? You would say, oh, Butch Otter, he's our former Republican governor. No. If you look at Butch Otter's record, toward the last 2 years of his third term, dude became unhinged, like almost a full-blown liberal. I mean, his parting shot out of office was supporting Obamacare's Medicaid expansion, right? He has since become a shill for big insurance companies getting that money. The guy regularly took shots at IFF, saying we had a hate book because we were better than him at policy. Sorry, I got to adjust my chair here. And then you look at other people, right? The losing losers who can't win, right? You've got Scott Syme, who lost to Brandon Shippey in the Senate primary this year. You've got Lori Likely, who actually no, she's I'm going to follow the will of the people. We'll get to that in a minute. Who else was it? Oh, Marv Hagedorn, losing loser.
Bruce Newcomb, who's the treasurer.
Well, Brooks, he exited without losing. Linda Hartgen, right?
Oh, you're talking about people that lost. I got you. Sorry.
The not just losers generally, because there are lots of just general losers who are supporting this, right? But like Linda Hartgen, she got blown out in her primary by 27 points by a guy who I don't know if he's hit puberty yet, right? But like blown out. And so she, of course, supports Prop 1. Greg Lanting, or was it Lanting or Dixon? One of them. Again, same thing. It's unbelievable. You can't win selling your bad ideas. And instead of selling better ideas or actually being conservative, you feel the need to rig the game. That's what's going on here. So
yeah. No, 100%. Love your comment there, Greg Furch. I appreciate that. Wish we still had you in there. And that's the whole veteran thing, man. It's still just. And here's the thing. So, in fact, let's go on this whole veterans thing. So there's these fake groups that pop up all the time. Me and Dustin love to make fun of these stupid groups because they pop up. They don't do anything. They're meant to be I think this one's Veterans for Idaho Voters or something like that. They come out with these stupid groups every election cycle, trying to figure out some way to create more support for their leftist ideas. And so we look at who started Veterans for Idaho Voters. The president of Veterans for Idaho Voters is Representative Todd Achilles. Achilles, is that how you say his last name?
Achilles,
yeah. Let's see. What party does he belong to?
He's a far left Democrat. He's actually, I think he's one of my lawmakers. I think he's my
is he?
Yeah, I think so.
Sucks.
Yeah.
far left Democrat from Boise. He's the guy who started Veterans for Idaho Voters, and then he got a whole bunch of other far leftists to join him. And then here's the thing: they get these stupid Republicans, okay, and they are stupid. If you are helping the left take over Idaho, you're stupid. All right, there's no other way around it. But that's what they do. That's what they did in Colorado. That's what they've done in these other states is they want to target actual conservatives, and so they do these fluff groups and these fluff pieces and say, well, look, we got to take out these conservatives. We're on the same team here. And so then these idiot Republicans join in with the far left, take out the good conservatives, and in the meantime, there's a knife just going in their back over and over and over again. What'd you go after me for? Remember, Mitt Romney was a far-right extremist, okay? John McCain was a far-right extremist. George Bush was a far-right extremist. Everybody to the right of AOC is a far-right extremist. So if you're a Republican, a moderate Republican, maybe if you want change, just go do it in the primary, okay? Get out and do your thing. But stop helping these flaming liberals take over our state. Like, I'm so tired of it. It's so frustrating.
Yeah, like I know that there are times when working across the aisle is just fine, right? Like IFF worked on Right to Try back in 2015, which is the idea that if you are terminally ill, you can kind of do any medical treatment you want to save your own life. Melissa Wintrow was huge on that. She helped us get the bill through, get it across the finish line. That's fine. But like, if you are looking at some of these other issues that like it's partisan game playing and you're sitting on the side of, I don't know, like Butch Otter and Greg Graff and all these idiots who are just the worst, who've never done a conservative thing in their life, like, you need to do some soul searching. It's not on us. We're not extremists. We're not racists. We're not Nazis. We're not anything. You have left us, and you're just not checked into reality anymore.
Yeah, 100%. Nicholas said Marv just big mad that Janice beat him for lieutenant governor, which honestly is probably one of the major reasons that he supports this.
That's actually probably very true.
Off. I completely forgot about that.
Good point. Good point.
That's freaking awesome. Okay, so we're gonna play this ad that me and Dustin saw earlier.
Is this the satire thing? Okay, yes. Yeah.
So we found this satire ad, or somebody found it, and it was getting shared around. I think I saw it from Stop Idaho Rhinos. It will echo a little bit in the beginning. I don't know what happened, and hopefully it works and it doesn't buffer too much. But this ad is fantastic. It's on X. If you're not on Twitter, you should get on. It's a lot of fun. Unless you get sucked into like debates really easy, then maybe you don't want to get on there. But it's a lot of fun. So anyway, we're gonna roll this ad. It's about a minute long. And again, this is satire, okay? And hopefully you can catch on because it's not that hard. It's a great ad. So let me roll that. It takes about a minute, and then we'll be back.
For Prop 1, I've always said we needed a more complicated system. Why have a candidate you like when you can settle for everybody's third choice? I used to have to research like 5 candidates. Now I research 40. I love a system that incentivizes mediocrity. And it's impossible to recount. Did I mention that? It's impossible. You could try, but it's not gonna happen. We're technically asking for a jungle primary, but open primaries tested better with our focus groups, because they thought we actually meant that. Open primaries are really good for tampering with the other party's elections when you don't have the majority. Now that's what I call democracy. Right now, the parties get to choose whether or not they have an open primary, and the Republicans are the only one who hasn't taken us up on that. Kind of embarrassing for them. Alaska just tried jungle primaries and ranked choice voting, and it turned the state blue for the first time in 50 years. So we know it works. The current system disenfranchises thousands of Idaho Democrats who want to vote on the Republican ticket. I mean, make elections more expensive. Make elections more confusing for the elderly. Make it super easy to fill out your ballots incorrectly. We'll toss those ones out. Make Idaho blue. Wait, I'm being told I can't say that. Can I say make it less red? What about purple? Can we say purple? Okay, never. Well, yeah, I just won't say that part. Look out, Alaska. We're coming for you.
Okay, it buffered a little bit there, at least on my end. I don't know if it did on your end. I don't know if it was restreamed. Anyway, that is fantastic. My favorite part is, I'm not even going to remember the line now, where she's like, it'll help Democrats be able to vote on the Republican ticket. And she does the whole like our hands over her mouth, like, oh crap, I was supposed to say that. What was her name again?
I had it. I even put it in the chat. What was it? 1 second. Lily Allman. And if you want to follow her, and you really should, she has a ton of content on Instagram. Go to Instagram and look for In the Know Idaho. Like, she's got some really good stuff on the founding fathers, on the Constitution, on founding documents. Like this was a gem in the rough. Like,
Yeah.
I'm very happy that we found this and she made this video, because she's really fantastic.
Yeah, it's too bad we didn't see. This is where I get back to this whole ballot initiative and why they suck is we just don't have the money. Imagine putting that on all over social media, on TV, and just rolling that ad everywhere, dude. It would be fantastic to roll her ad all over the place, because the Democrats would lose it. But we just don't have that kind of money. And so I'm going to do a little Donald Trump weave here. I want to get back to one of our points. What is, we do not have the money that the left does, and we never will, to do a ballot initiative, to do a really good effort on one.
Right.
We don't have an entire propaganda arm in the mainstream media that helps them push this stuff. Okay, where is KTVB Brian and Morgan Romero doing a dark money, out of state money piece on nearly $5 million, most of which has come from out of state, to push this thing? So we don't have the money, we don't have the propaganda, and quite frankly, we're just not as good at being organized on a scale that the left is, because conservatives, we want to be left alone. We don't want to sit there and beat the pavement and stuff on the scale that the Democrats do. And that's why I'm like, you got to get rid of the ballot initiative. It's destroying all the blue states that have had it for a long time. We're one of the few really red states that has ballot initiatives, and if we don't get rid of it, ultimately it will be the end of our state. Because guess what's coming in 2026? If you haven't heard already, abortion. Okay, they are running a baby killing ballot initiative in 2026. So if we can't beat Prop 1, like, I don't know that we have any chance of stopping the baby killing, because again, they're going to lie. Okay, they don't mind spending millions of dollars lying to you. It'll be like, we need to update Idaho's law to ensure that we can save the life of the mother. Like, wait, what? That's the messaging they're going to come with.
And by the way, it's already happening. If you look at the Capital Sun, if you look at some of the Time or Statesman reporters, they're already doing it, right? This one, I don't think that I don't think they'll win on 2026 on the abortion thing, but they're going to get close. But they know that this is going to be a dogfight, so they are already starting it right now. Like, it's unbelievable,
dude.
Unbelievable.
I'm not so confident, man. They have ran pro-abortion stuff in other states already, and maybe not as red of states, but they have ran it in other states, and it has passed in every single one so far.
Agree. But Idaho, I mean, like, it was it Kansas or Kentucky? I think it was Kansas, that was, and Ohio, but yep. We're still Idaho, right? We are still Idaho, and I still have faith in our voters that they will do the right things. I want to deviate for 1 second. Mac, I did say Instagram because I meant Instagram, right? They have In the Know Idaho, their home base was Instagram. And just today, they joined X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. So Mac has shared a link to the In the Know Idaho Twitter page or X page, whatever you want to call it. So they are on Twitter. They're also on YouTube and Facebook as well. So yes to all those things.
The ad we saw initially was on X, but yeah, the Instagram, like Dustin said, is much bigger. So what were we just talking about? Oh, the abortion 2026. So that's coming. The they're going to try to do another marijuana one, but those guys can't ever, whether you support it or not, they've never been able to even get it.
Why can't weed smokers get their stuff together to get something through? It's funny because they always put these silly press conferences together when they get they file the paperwork, and then I think they lose interest, right? And it's like, oh, maybe if we promised you Doritos at the end of this or something, like, you would do it. But like, they're never going to get that one. My guess is 2026 will be abortion. My guess is 2028 would be something like we saw in what was it 22 with the tax hike. I think they know our lawmakers are never going to increase taxes. I think they're going to try something like that again. So
Yeah. Here's the thing: is I don't know, and this is okay. So far they did Medicaid expansion, right, and then they did the education initiative, which Little was just like, here, well, I'll just give you the money. Like, you don't need to do the whole initiative thing. And now we're doing Prop 1. So far, they've been, let's just focus on one initiative. I'm curious to see when are they going to start pushing more than one, right? Change isn't coming fast enough, so we're going to do abortion and we're going to do this, and they'll just work in conjunction with each other and try to get them both on the ballot at once. So, I don't know. Here, okay, so I want to put this up because David Watson has a really good comment here, Dustin. Okay, so if you guys don't know what Nextdoor is like a liberal hellhole. Like, don't ever go on Nextdoor.
It's worse. It's way worse than Twitter will ever be.
So bad. It's so bad. So if you guys can't read it, it says, I'm on Nextdoor quite a bit. And as you may or may not know, that social media platform is a haven for liberals. Absolutely. However, I am seeing way more negative comments and posts about Prop 1 than I am seeing positive. Probably around 3-1 negative on Prop 1. So very good news. That is similar to what we've been trying to say is it feels so. Somebody asked about our predictions. It may have been David that was asking. I can't remember who it was. My prediction is that Prop 1 will fail. I'm hopeful that the percentage is high, somewhere like, at 56% fail. You know what I mean? But I don't. That's probably that would probably be the high it could go. Some people are saying 60-40. I'm just, I don't know that it'll go.
No way. Bad. Not a chance. Not a chance. I mean, look, you have to break it down by Lance, you were booted by Nextdoor. Yeah, good for you. That's a badge of honor. You have to break it down by, look at Trump. Trump's going to get about 63 to 64% of the vote in Idaho, right? So you think that those are generally Republican people. He's going to get some independents, but generally those are your Republican voters. And that aligns with what we see with party registrations and other data, right?
Yeah.
That break down that segment alone, and even that whole segment does not support the Republican Party in Idaho, right? Because a lot of them, they'll vote for Trump, but they hate Dorothy Moon. And I need to get back to Dorothy Moon in just a second. Remind me about that.
Yeah.
But there are a ton of Republicans who hate Dorothy Moon, who hate the Idaho Freedom Foundation, who hate the Idaho Second Amendment Alliance, who will not vote, or who will vote for this thing, not because it's good policy, but because they hate IFF and Dorothy Moon. Honestly, like, it might be more effective for Luke Mayville and those liars to simply put out a postcard that says, if you hate IFF and Dorothy Moon, vote for Prop 1. That might be more effective than the propaganda they're putting out. I'm dead serious. Yeah. Like, it might be.
It probably would be, dude. It's, I don't know. I just can't see how it gets through. So with the Idaho Dispatch, by the way, we did some polling, and the overwhelming.
Wait, you released a public poll?
I know. And
naughty.
I'm the reason $5 million just flowed in all of a sudden. It's some inside baseball crap.
Sorry.
But, So we in that poll, Democrats overwhelmingly support Prop 1. It was like 75% support Prop 1, and I think like 60% of Republicans are opposed. And there's a chunk of Republicans that just are they don't know. And the pollster was basically saying, look, the more that Republicans find out about Prop 1, they hate it. They don't like it, especially the ranked choice voting. That is what is killing us. And Dustin and I, at least I did, I don't remember. Daniel Walters, who's like a liberal reporter with Investigate Northwest. We have good conversations with the guy, both Dustin and I have. And I told him, I said, I don't know why they're going for ranked choice voting, because this is going to kill this thing. If it dies, it's going to be because of ranked choice voting. But I guess at the end of the day, they kind of had to do that. I mean, they can't force the Republicans to open the primary, and they don't want to do a top two primary. And so they pretty much had to do this, I guess, in conjunction. I don't know. Seems like a
Yeah.
stupid idea, which I'm grateful for that they
Yeah.
that they did it. But yeah,
Yeah, I think honestly, I think they got cocky, right? I think they got very, very cocky. And I think that they underestimated the power of Dorothy Moon and the grassroots because, and why not, right? Because in 2018 or whatever, they ran Medicaid expansion. What happened? They won with like 63% of the vote because they lied their asses off, right? They said, oh, this is
Yeah.
just bringing our money back. Well, Idaho was already a welfare state.
Oh my gosh.
We're now a bigger welfare state, right? And they're like, oh, and this is, what was the other thing? This is, oh, it was just bringing our tax money back. Shut the hell up. But a lot of the Republicans, I remember IFF formed, like the people around IFF formed a PAC at the time. We raised $63,000. That's it. That was it. There was no help from anybody else. Nothing from lawmakers, no party, nothing. Then, and they won. Okay. Then in 2022, they did the socialist spending bomb. They never got that one to the ballot, or they did, but it didn't matter. But Brad Little bent over and did what they wanted, right? He gave them their money bomb, not the tax hike, but they got the money for education. So they were like, oh, well, we can do whatever the hell we want. Not this time. Not this time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, to your point, maybe they were just like, well, we can just do whatever we want at this point, which, by the way, again, guns is coming at some point. Sorry, it will come. And do we have a much better chance of defeating something like that? Sure. But again, when they lie, it makes it much more difficult. And when they can push that lie in 3 massive mailers, these aren't cheap. These are nice mailers, really nice mailers. They're not cheap. And they probably blanketed the entire state with these things. Republicans, independents, Democrats, they probably hit everybody.
And keep in mind, again, this is all, a big part of this is it's a marketing play, right? We can't keep up. And they know that if, like, people have been hitting, Idaho donors again and again for money for candidacies, for PACs, for C3s, C4s. Those guys, they can just write checks left and right. They can just write checks. They don't care. They have so much, money, tech money, whatever. They don't care. $1 million there? Oh, cool. We'll drop 8. Doesn't matter. And so they're trying to bleed us dry one election at a time. I don't think it's working, but there may be some donor fatigue in 2026. So I don't know, man. It's lawmakers need to grow a spine and get rid of this process. And I do wonder if 2026 might be the time to do it because people will be so repulsed by the abortion thing, but I don't know, man. I don't know. This is tricky.
I do know the public, at least in our circles, when I first talked about getting rid of the ballot initiative process, I mean, I got flack from our own side. Like, 30% of the gun owners were like, you can't do that because we might want to use that someday. I just laughed. I'm like, oh, good gosh. And I said, look, I get it. I understand the optics of what it looks like. I'm just, I see what's happening. And so there has been a huge turn against there are a lot more people now that have joined us and saying, get rid of this thing, get rid of it. It's not worth it. We are not direct democracy. That's what a ballot initiative is in the end, is direct democracy. You want to change? Find the lawmakers who will make the changes that you want. That's what we've got to do at the end of the day. So let's see. Oh, Lance says we received 3 other flyers you didn't show. So those are the only 3 I have. If you guys have other flyers, maybe shoot them over to us or something, because I'd love to take a look. Shoot them over to me on X or on Facebook and send them to me. I'd love to take a look and see what they are.
Really interesting to me because my wife is a registered Republican. She's I think she's a 4 Republican, right? She has not received one mailer, and I don't know why. I've been, and some of you will know this, and I've apparently, according to Greg Graff, I'm a crossover voter, but I was a registered libertarian for a long time in protest of Brad Little leading the Republican Party, as the governor, as the head, the informal head. I registered as a Republican again this year to get active in the primaries because I saw what my brother was trying to pull off by trying to unseat Dorothy Moon, and I wanted to help her out. But I have not received one flyer, not one.
Interesting.
It's very, very strange. I would love to see their targeting. Very interesting
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting. Okay, so predictions. Both of us think Prop 1 will fail. But look, you can't bank on that. So get out and vote. I posted on X. I said there's nothing more important in Idaho than Prop 1. Okay, the presidential election doesn't matter. You can get out, vote for Trump. Sure, that's fine. But if you're like, I don't want to go vote for Trump, I don't really care about the president because he's going to win Idaho anyway. Sure, that's true. But Prop 1, you cannot, I can't say it enough. You have to get out and vote against Prop 1 because this, it means everything.
And I will add on top of that, Greg's exactly right. And one of the big takeaways from his Idaho Dispatch poll that we found was people are turning to primarily 3 sources of information to learn about Prop 1. And 2 of them scare the hell out of me, which is social media, local news media, and their friends and family, right? That's you. You have got to make sure that people on your friends list on Facebook, on Twitter, if you have email lists, if you have prayer circles, if you go to church, like I have a church thing tomorrow for Halloween, and I'm thinking about going as no on Prop 1 or something because people have got to know there's still a lot of confusion, and they have got to know, and it's on you guys to do it. We've done our part. I've done my part. We got to do it.
Dude, that's funny. I went to my brother, Jeff. He sponsors a big thing at the Meridian Speedway, that goes out and gets the cars that have crashed. Golly, I can't remember what it's called. Anyway,
the Derby, Derby.
No, I meant the machine that comes out and gets the cars. Because it's not a forklift; it's a bigger. Anyway,
okay.
But it was a Halloween thing, and so there was just massive amounts of people and stuff. And I thought, man, I screwed up. I should have grabbed one of those red "No on Prop 1" signs or actually 2 of them, and just walked around, got some string, and made it so that I could just walk around with that "No on Prop 1" sign on my body, because those are our people right there. Right at the races. So
it's interesting because I live in a very blue district in Boise, right?
Yeah.
And a friend of mine had those the magnets that say vote no on Prop 1 that you can put on your truck. And like, maybe I'm admitting that I'm a coward, but like, I like my truck a lot. And I was like, should I put one on my truck? And I'm like, nah, it'll probably get keyed in this blue district. Like, that's the other thing that we need to talk about is liberals defacing signs, stealing signs, keying cars. Like, these people are unhinged, man. They are completely unhinged.
I don't support that crap. I know that happens during the Republican primary. People will steal signs or damage. Like, don't be a freaking douche. Like, stop ruining people's property. If you can't win on ideas, then that's what you resort to. You resort to destroying stuff. Like, now look, if you want to buy a yes on Prop 1 sign and you want to have a burn fest or
absolutely. That is a legitimate form of speech. Yeah, that's
absolutely.
Great.
But like, don't go out and destroy other people's property. Good grief, man. It's freaking a joke. So I'm curious, Dustin. So by the way, guys, I will be doing an election night podcast. Again, I mentioned that at the beginning. Going to be a lot of fun. 9:00 p.m. Mountain Time. So 8:00 for you guys up north. If you don't know, results in Idaho do not come in until 9:00, and they'll usually do the early returns, which, by the way, there is a crap ton of early returns that have come in Idaho. Historically, massive amount that have come in. Those get dropped, and then like an hour later, they finally start getting other results. We are one of the slowest damn states in the country.
Canyon County and either Bonner or Boundary County. Those 2 counties are the worst.
They are so terrible.
Worst. And by the way, just so we're clear, just so we put in that one final plug, we say that they're the worst because they finish up at 3 a.m. If they implement ranked choice voting, you won't see results till freaking December. Yeah. Like, it will be okay. It's probably not going to be December. Actually, it could be. Now that I think about it, it could be December. You might not know shiz until December. Like, I'm thinking they swear in lawmakers on December 1 of each year. of the election year, you might not be able to swear in some lawmakers because we'll
Yep.
still be counting and fixing errors. It's
Oh my
insane.
gosh. Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy. Anyway, okay, so does Donald Trump win?
So let's go through a couple. Let's do this one and let's do a couple Senate races and just some
Oh,
state
yeah.
races
Local
just for
and
fun.
national.
And
Sure.
and by the way, if you're watching with us, feel free to drop your predictions in the comments. I think Trump wins, and I think it's not a total rout. It's not a full red wave, but I think he wins almost every swing state. The more Kamala talks, the more people hate her, and for good reason. She's as dumb as a box of rocks and incompetent as hell. So I think Trump could be. I think I said it was in the 311, 312 range, if I remember correctly, in the sheet that we did. What do you think?
Yeah, same. I think, yeah, we were very close on our electoral college count. I agree. I mean, I'm looking at the polling numbers. You're looking at early returns. You're looking at all that stuff, and I'm not seeing a way he loses. But the one caveat, and I mentioned this in the beginning, is I don't know if all this the Republicans are killing it in the early returns because they never do. Is that all election day voters that are just
I don't
like,
know.
we'll just do that, and the race is going to be much closer than we're thinking? I don't think so, because she seems to be losing black and Hispanic voters.
Black men, because I'm a
Yeah.
man and I'm not scared of women.
Oh
I'm
my
not
God.
scared of women.
That was the gayest ad ever.
It was so gay. Like,
It was
I'm
terrible.
not afraid to let my. They should have just said what they meant. Like, I'm not afraid to let my wife kill her baby. Like, just say it. Just say it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to let my wife have a boyfriend. Like, just say it. Come on.
Yeah.
You cuss.
It was so terrible. If you guys haven't seen that ad, then well, good for you.
It's
Honestly,
so
but
bad.
It's cringe to the 100th degree. But
Honestly,
yeah.
I love political marketing. I find it fascinating, and I've studied it for a while. That might be one of the worst ads I have ever seen on either side of the aisle. And there have been some really bad ads, right? That
Yeah.
one is so tone deaf and unbelievable. Like, and it's funny because you know that it was written by a bunch of Ivy League brats who were like, "This is what men like." Oh, I see Joey Swole videos. I know what they like. No, you don't. You have no idea. You have no clue.
Yeah, I think Trump wins, but as some other people have said, man, Democrats don't mind cheating. All right, as we've seen with the Prop 1 stuff, they don't mind lying, they don't mind cheating, they don't care, and so you do have to be somewhat concerned on crap, or you know, it seems like everything is lining up for just Trump to smash her.
Yep.
But I don't know, man. I don't know.
Here's the thing, and I've seen signs and memes about this already. The saying is too big to rig, right? At
Correct.
some point, you can't get enough votes. You just can't, right?
Yeah.
And if you can, like, damn, like, hats off to you. But I think that his victories are going to be big enough in each of these swing states that they can't fix the election this time. And the liberal tears are just going to be delicious. I'm going to spend the Wednesday after election, or whenever they declare it, just on TikTok. I'm going to spend it on TikTok watching liberals with blue hair cry their eyes out. It's going to be delicious.
Yeah.
So,
okay, so what predictions do you want to do here in Idaho?
Let's do some Senate ones real quick. I know we don't necessarily care, but it's fun. I think Republicans are going to take the Senate seats in Montana. That one's a done deal. Did you see the poll out of Arizona today that had Carrie Lake ahead by like 0.7 percentage points? Carrie Lake is ahead in Arizona.
That's a change, because like a month ago she was down by like 10 points.
She was down by a massive margin. I think Trump was ahead by like, I want to say like 8 or 9 points. I think he's going to do enough to lift her up and drag her into the Senate. She's a terrible candidate.
Well, and he's had some scandals, I think, that have come out in the last 3 weeks.
Didn't he have like an affair or something, and then they paid off a nanny or something? It's like, okay, well, apparently Doug Emhoff and that guy can have a club. But I think Kari Lake is going to squeak through. Obviously, we're going to get West Virginia, and then I think we'll probably get either Michigan or Pennsylvania, but not both. That would be my guess.
Yeah. I think the Republicans take the Senate by a little bit. The issue, if you want to call it that, is that they're not going to get 60.
Sure.
We're not going to get to 60. And so, any really big major policy issues are going to be really tough without ever getting to 60 and overcoming the filibuster. But
yeah,
that is.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Again, and this is an argument I have with Idaho Republicans too. I don't care that you don't have 60. You cut, once we give you the power, once we put you in office, you cut throats like Democrats do. Democrats, every time they're in power, they will cut your throat. If you don't act accordingly, Republicans, you will never get another chance at this.
Yeah.
Like, you have made so many promises. I mean, and look at the dream team that Trump has put together with Elon and RFK and Tulsi Gabbard. Like, the wind is at your back. Go cut their throats. I'm dead serious. Eliminate departments. Fire. Go Javier Milei on everybody. Like, fire everyone.
Yeah, got the system completely. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Idaho. District 6. Right, that's the big one that we're all watching.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. And well, if you had asked me, I don't know, like a week and a half ago, I'd have said probably not looking good. Senator Foreman, he's not great at campaigning. Senator Foreman, you got to do better, man. You got to get out there and campaign harder. But obviously, a lot of support has come in for him in the last week and a half. A lot of door knocking for him, a lot of ads being ran by Idaho Freedom Action, all sorts of stuff happening. So
Idaho Freedom Pack. Let's be clear about that.
Yeah,
let's be clear. I don't need to be investigated by anybody.
Oh gosh, yeah. That's the medicine talking, even though it's not working because my back is still killing me. But I think he pulls it off. I think it'll be close. That's always a kind of a close race there, anyway. And I think what may help is either Trump and or the anti-Prop 1 people are just like, heck no. You know what I mean? So if he gets pulled across the finish line, it's probably because of the down ballot or the stuff on the up ballot. But
so, and I want to be clear, I studied this and I hit the alarm with Idaho Freedom Pack about a week ago saying, hey, we've got a problem here. And he had that fake scandal that I don't think he said what the media think he said. And we've seen zero proof, none, which is not shocking. But there's a problem in this district is the mainstream, the common sense Republicans always desert Dan Foreman, always. You look at election results from last year and from previous years, there's usually about a 3,000 vote margin between the highest vote getting Republican and Dan Foreman, because the Rhino Republicans cannot, and it's funny because they always tell the extremist Republicans to ride for the brand. They don't ride for the brand ever.
No.
My guess is that Foreman survives by less than 100 votes. And it could be, honestly, it could be 10 votes. If you know anybody in District 6, which is Nez Perce, Latah, and Lewis counties, call them and make sure that they know that Dan Foreman is the key to a lot of good stuff. Education choice, tax relief, grocery tax relief, like the conservative agenda.
And potential leadership.
Yeah. The conservative agenda could hinge on this vote, right?
Yeah, correct.
There's and to your point, he is a terrible candidate. Not personally, like he just sucks at campaigning. Like there's a skill and an art to it. He sucks at it. So
and a lot of them do, but yeah.
Oh yeah, he's particular. He doesn't have Dan Foreman does not have a campaign website. That's how bad it is. That said, Dan Foreman is a man of integrity who votes the right way most of the time. So we need him back. District next one is District 15, which is West Boise and Meridian here in the state of Ada. I think that Republicans get the Senate seat. I think Cody Galloway has done enough to get that back, to oust Just. I think, and she's going to be helped, of course, by the Trump vote. I think Dory Healy survives, and I think if Tipton survives, it'll be by, or if she takes out Birch, it'll be that by the skin of her teeth. But I don't think she does, because I think
so.
Birch, as ornery and unfriendly as he is, like his whole life is knocking doors. Like he knocks doors like I sleep, like constantly, right? That's his hobby, right? So that means something. Even if he's a terrible candidate
he
and
does
wrong on
campaign
everything,
hard.
it means constantly, right? So I don't know that I think Tipton will make it. So what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think he'll be fine, which unfortunate, but Galloway, that one will be really interesting because it is a split district. I think she could pull it off. Like I said, I think the Trump vote is definitely going to help quite a bit, but I don't know. Yeah, I think so. I think she pulls it off. I honestly don't remember what I put on the sheet.
I don't either.
Maybe changing my stuff.
I think you put Galloway. I'm pretty sure you put Galloway.
I think I did put Galloway.
I think everybody's unanimous on this. Okay, District 26. Now this one is interesting, and I'm going to be 100% transparent because I'm being attacked already as a Democrat operative. I'm not the one paid by Democrat dollars. You are, Graf. But District 26 Senate features 3 candidates, right? Liberal Lori Likely, liberal Ron Taylor, and conservative Kayla Tate, right? That's the race. So, yes, Idaho Freedom PAC has endorsed Kayla Tate because she's the only conservative in the race. There's nothing conservative about Lori Likely. That any conservative position that she has ever taken, she's walked away from. Like there was I don't know if it was an abortion vote or something. I remember she walked away from it because she knew it was politically unpopular in her district. 0 principles. She's not conservative. She's a Mike Simpson Republican, not conservative at all. So when Idaho Freedom PAC goes to endorse and support candidates, of course we're going to support the conservative in the race, you dummy. So let's be clear about that. Now, with that said, my prediction is that Taylor wins because it's District 26. It's naturally a purple district. And here's the point. Kayla Tate is a conservative. Lori Likely has done nothing to court conservatives. Nothing. I was at a fundraiser for the Blaine County Republican Party a couple weeks ago. You know who wasn't there? Lori Likely. She normally in election season, you would come up, you would glad hand, you would talk to people, you would try to get their votes, you would try to at least convince them that you're a conservative. She's not even doing that because she's not, and she can't earn their votes. Again, elections are all about earning people's support, and if you don't try because you're not who you say you are, there's nothing that she can't help you. What do you think?
Yeah, no, 100%. So is Tate running as independent or libertarian? Independent,
she is an independent.
Yeah, correct. Okay, so I'm the same mindset. First of all, I'm not going to vote for some liberal Republican just because they have an R next to their name. Like I don't. That's not my style. And here's the thing. In the end, if so. You have to understand the Idaho Senate will be super majority controlled by Republicans. Okay. So you can either have one more Democrat, one more meaningless Democrat in there the Democrats have no power as long as the Republicans, use their spines. Or you can have a liberal Republican who will help get liberal leadership in the Senate. So
honestly, there's a parallel between this race and ranked choice voting in Prop 1, right? Which is where do you want your liberals? Do you want them in the Democrat Party and in the Democrat primary, or do you want them infiltrating the Republican Party? Lori Likely is a liberal. She does not belong in the conservative Republican caucus.
If Idaho flipped purple, she would change her party affiliation the next
100%. She reminds me a lot of Fred Wood. Do you remember Fred Wood?
He always
he was the conservative leader in Burley. The dude was a corporate whore because he loved Medicaid expansion. He always, there was nothing conservative about him except for maybe that he didn't want to kill babies as much as other people, right? Like, that's not a good measure of a conservative, guys. I'm sorry. There's so much more to it. So, I think Taylor returns. And the advice for Republicans up there,
do better.
One win, do better. Court conservatives, act like you're conservative. Do conservative things.
Yeah.
So that's what it comes down to. Okay, last one is District 29. The race there is Nate Roberts versus Tanya Burgoyne. I like Tanya. She's a friend. I think she's worked hard. But that district is just very, very liberal.
It's more liberal, yeah, for sure.
And the reason I think that she doesn't pull it off is I know Jake Stevens came within 115 votes or something last time. Jake worked his ass off, and I'm not saying he has a better resume, but like, he was a veteran, right? And that actually means something to independents. It means something to some Democrats, I think. And it means a lot to Republicans. I think he just has a slightly better resume. And honestly, I don't know what type of race that Tanya has been running. So I think that Nate Roberts will probably return. That would be my guess.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be my guess too. Yeah, unfortunately.
I think overall at 3 a.m. when I'm putting my head down on the bed at the party hotel, Republicans in Idaho will have a good night. Will it be perfect? No. I honestly could see a scenario where we lose Dan Foreman, which would be a disaster. It would be a terrible, terrible loss, but it wouldn't discount all the progress that conservatives have made this election year. And we should still be happy that the conservative or the Senate will be far more conservative than it has ever been, with the additions of, Brandon Shippey, and Josh Cole and stuff. And keep in mind, conservatives, the Magic Valley miracle happened. We have pierced into areas that we thought we couldn't break through. Now we keep it going, right?
Yeah.
It's progress is slow, but we're winning day by day. So anyway, there's my soapbox speech.
That's the Twin Falls area. For those that don't know, the Magic Valley is Twin Falls, which used to be the establishment. That was the capital of the establishment, basically, was Twin Falls and that whole area down there. And they got wiped out. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was. We retained Glenita, and keep in mind, Glenita won by in District 8. We'll get to there. Nicholas, thank you for reminding us. District 8 was Blanksma, that douchebag Schroeder, and Bundy, the child mutilator Bundy, and there was a clean sweep there, right? And then in the Magic Valley area, we retained Glenita. She won by 36 points 2 years ago, and she won by 6 percentage points this time, which is a lot more votes. So there was that, and then Josh Cole, and then we got Hostetler and Levitt in there. So we have made significant progress in that part of the state, and I think that there are a couple districts over there that are primed for a sweep like that in 2026 if we do this right. So anyway,
for sure.
Lots of progress, and still lots more work to do, but lots of progress has been made here.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I agree, man. I agree. See, look, we've been going an hour and 38 minutes, and I'm like, dude, I don't know how Trump at 78 did 3 hours, man. Like, it's impressive. It really is. Whether you like the guy or not, that's a long time to do a podcast and not just feel like you're exhausted at the end of it. So that's crazy. It'll be, I think, overall a good night. I think we defeat Prop 1. And if not, God help us. And then, lots of good races. Lots of good races. Good races locally, nationally. Lots of really interesting races. Ted Cruz, I'm really interested to see if he can maintain the seat. Texas is going blue.
Ted Cruz is going to win. That's the same thing every election cycle. Ted Cruz.
It's been close.
Nah. Not even close. I mean, I know they're importing voters, but I just don't think it'll be close enough, right?
You're importing all sorts of voters, so you never know.
I think nationally, the other races I'm watching is, of course, and we won't know the results for a couple of days probably, but I'm watching the repeal race in Alaska on ranked choice
Yes.
voting. Right?
Oh
I
my
think
gosh,
they're
yes.
going to do it. I really do. I think people have a bad taste in their mouth from ranked choice voting,
Yep.
from what happened with Sarah Palin's race.
Yep.
I'm watching the amendments in Florida, both the marijuana one
Amendment
and the
4 and
abortion one.
yeah.
I think they're both going to pass, unfortunately. DeSantis can only do so much, right? And big
Yeah.
weed has been, oh my gosh, they're the worst. But overall, I think it's going to be a very, very good night for conservatives and our country. So I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
it. Now, before we get into the closing stuff, we have an announcement that we've got to make. But if you are in the Boise area, I will be at the election night party. I think I'm going to wear my bright blue suit that I only whip out for special occasions. So seriously, if you're in the area, come. Let's hang out. Let's grab some pizza. I think some of us, including Greg Diakianis from District 9, who's running as write-in candidate, he's going to be there. I think some of us are going to make a quick trip over to In-N-Out just for funsies before elections come in. So like between like 7:30 and 8:30, we'll probably go over there. But seriously, come say hi. Let's take a selfie together. Give me a fist bump. I would love to meet people that we've been reading comments from. And then, of course, Greg is doing his election night show. I might check in there. Probably not, because I'll be busy. I'll probably have In-N-Out sauce
Yeah, of
on
course.
my suit at that point. But please tune
Yeah.
into election night with Greg. That would be awesome. So
Yeah. Be a lot of fun. I'm excited.
yeah,
It'll be a good night. It'll be a good night. I
think
wish
so.
I could be down there, but I'll be here. That's for sure.
You'll be in a stretcher probably, or
Oh my gosh, seriously.
you'll be in a medical bed at that point. So
Yeah. I've been debating whether I'm going to go to the hospital tonight or tomorrow morning sometime to get some help for my back. But yeah, for sure. So okay, well, let's wrap this up. We got one announcement, and I'm not really sure how to do this. So Dustin and I, if you guys noticed, this is the first podcast we've done, I think, since shortly after the primary, or maybe right the day before. I don't remember. We haven't done one for quite a while. Dustin and I are both extremely busy. I'm running the Idaho Second Amendment Alliance, running the Idaho Dispatch, and Dustin's got his jobs because he's super busy, and we were both just kind of like, man, this is crazy. But I really wanted to get back into doing the podcasting because I want to keep a conservative voice going and build it up for 2026 so we can help fight against the abortion initiative and give you guys good content, all that good stuff. Really wanted to keep it going, but Dustin, unfortunately, has just been really busy and has just got to focus himself on other stuff. And Adam, maybe you want to chime in and just kind of talk about, why, going forward. I think you'll guest podcast with me from time to time, but in terms of being a consistent weekly, co-host, you just don't quite have the time to do it.
It's just one of those things. Like this is nothing about anything other than I'm busy, man. Like I've got a day job, I've got contract work on the side. We're wrapping up the Idaho Freedom Pack work, which is nice, but there's always something else. Oh, Lance, just so you know, we'll be going to In-N-Out at the Village, because it's closer. The hotel is at the court. It's a Courtyard by Marriott on South Eagle Road. I think it's like 1789 South Eagle Road. So it's just like a 5-minute drive down to In-N-Out. So we'll be doing that. So we'll be there at some point that night. But regardless, back to the topic. I love it. Talking about In-N-Out, literally a mile from my office. It's amazing. But honestly, like I have a wife. I have 3 kids. I don't even know how many kids I have. And I have a day job that I very much like. I have contract work. I have Idaho Freedom Pack. And believe it or not, for those of you who don't understand politics, we are already talking about 2026. Like once this election is over, we are starting to look at what does the playing field look like for 2026 and how do we help our candidates get there? How do we find new candidates? How do we help them stop being sucky campaigners? Like that is like where I'm going to devote a lot of my energy for the next 18 months because we've got another brutal primary ahead of us.
Yeah.
And if we can sustain the gains that we've made and pick up a couple more seats, like the conservative takeover is on, it's over, it's done. And things will get so much better. So I love the podcast, but it's just a time constraint thing. I will continue to support Greg doing it. I think he's got another announcement regarding that and what it's going to look like moving forward. But it's just a time thing. It really is.
Yeah. And, it won't be obviously nearly as fun without having you on every week. And like I said, I'm sure I'll have you on as things are happening, maybe with, PUPF or IFPAC or whatever it is, and need to have you on and stuff. Yeah. And so honestly, part of what not the concern, but part of the dilemma I was having is I knew Dustin was going to be backing out, and it was just going to be me and adding other co-hosts. Like I know Christy Zitto wants to come on and help and stuff like that. I was trying to figure out, like, crap, I can't really have the Freedom Bros if I end up with like having a female co-host at times. And I mean, the Freedom Bros was me and Dustin, right? That was me and you. We had the weights, we have the guns. I mean, that's who we are. And I kept, can I do Freedom Bro? No, that just sounds stupid. It just couldn't really come up with anything. And then I thought, you know what? I think the easiest and best thing to do is to switch the podcast over and use Keep Idaho Free, which is a brand that I started a long time ago. It's been a little bit dormant for some time. I had started Keep Idaho Free years ago as a way to fight against the stuff that the liberals just really hated, and like banning men and women's sports and all the stuff that I knew we had to do to protect Idaho from a gem state heist, from liberals stealing our state. That's what the brand was created for. Here, I'll throw up the logo so people can see. It'll be above Dustin's
that's
head there.
fancy. That's fancy.
So
I like that.
That's, it's got guns, and so it just pisses people off no matter what. So that was, I think, the brand, and the decision we're going to move forward with is using the Keep Idaho Free logo and brand. And everything else, some of the articles Dustin was talking about. Golly, sorry, my nose is itching like crazy. Probably look like I'm snorting cocaine like Hunter Biden or something. But
wow,
yeah, I went there. I'm tired. So really excited to do that. So two quick things, and then we can kind of wrap it up here. On the Keep Idaho Free website, we created a flyer, and I'll show you what it looks like. You want to do something. Do you want to be proactive? You can download this on the website for free and walk it around your neighborhood. If you can hit, especially the Republican homes in your neighborhood, you can download this half-page flyer and pass it out to as many people as possible. Look, we think we're going to beat Prop 1, but let's not roll the dice.
Yep.
Get out, whatever work, sign waves, hand out flyers, whatever you can do to help kill Prop 1. Please do. Please, please, please do. And with that, I will show you. We'll roll our outro, of course, one last time. But I do have a fun ad that I made a long time ago for Keep Idaho Free. It's a short ad, and it might be a little louder than it should be. So I apologize if it's loud. I don't think I turned it down, but it is what it is. So here's a cool ad that you guys could share, and I'll roll that, and then we'll do a quick outro, and then we'll get off here.
Okay, that was cool.
Do you
I
remember
forgot how
that?
cool
That was like 4 years ago.
I forgot how cool that was.
Yeah. I made that all on my own, by the way.
I am proud of
So
you.
anyway, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, dude. I mean, it's been fun doing the Freedom Bros, and like I said, we'll be doing all sorts of fun stuff, and I'm excited. Yeah, dude. We got our work cut out for us. No matter what you guys are doing, just get involved. Do something. You gotta get involved. Whatever your issue is, get involved and do that.
Yep.
So yeah. Anyway. Oh man. Well, anything else, dude?
No, like I said, if you're around next Tuesday night at the hotel, come say hi. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's not for the faint of heart. It's not for the faint of heart. It's at Hearst for Idaho. I actually tried to change my Twitter handle after the latest attack on me to at political muscle, but it's one letter too long.
No.
So I couldn't get there, and I'm like, I don't want to make this hard for people and make them have to think about what my name is.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to do it, but
Oh, that sucks.
maybe I'll change it to like Hearst the Muscle or something like that, just to make fun of people, because I just whatever. But seriously, I think the biggest thing that I would say is simply thank you to everybody who has joined us in the shows for so long, and I know the show is going to keep going on with Greg, and he's going to do a great job. But like, it's been fun. I don't do, I've been accused in the last few days of being a corporate whore and a lobbyist bitch by a certain person. I don't do this for money. I don't run my pack for money. I don't do this podcast for money. I do make money doing politics to feed my family, but like, I do so much more that I don't get paid for, because I love Idaho and I love the people that are here. And I love the people who, believe it or not, I love the people who are moving here from other states who want what we have and want to sustain and help build and guard what we built. That's why I do things. That's forever why I will do things. And so thank you for being a part of that. It takes all of us. I mean, you look at the vote totals. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of votes in these districts. And some of the votes, by the way, there's 7-8 vote margins, right? It takes every single one of us to keep the republic. So thank you for all that you've done, you Greg, but also the listeners, to keep Idaho. Do we have a lot of work left to do? Yes, but we have made amazing gains thanks to you and a lot of the people that have been following along with us forever. So thank you, and good luck with everything on the podcast.
All right, man. It's been an honor. It's been fun. And yeah, we gotta roll our outro one more time. But yeah, everything Dustin said. You guys take care. We'll be in touch real soon, and we'll see you on election night. It's gonna be a blast. So take care and God bless.